one, let's roast!
So, Ken's in the media. He's part of the media. He's a real nightcrawler, and by that I mean a hermaphroditic worm.
First blood, just like the priest drew from you. This vape shop sommelier is Scott Kidd. Scott, after failing a comedy for 15 years in Southern California, just moved back. He's come back though as one of Louisiana's progressive racists. Like he's the one who explained Kendrick Lamar's halftime Super Bowl show to the rest of the Klan Nation.
I didn't know we were doing stanzas. Jesus Christ, a fucking diatribe here. It's kind of hard. He's talking all this stuff about my past. It's kind of hard to write material on a guy whose only footage is bloody, bloated carcasses from Katrina. I'm sorry, buddy, but just because everybody at your job laughs at your terrible jokes doesn't mean you can actually be a comedian.
Nobody laughs at his jokes at his job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Damn, roasted from the crowd.
It's a flag on the play.
You'll recognize Scott if you've ever seen Kid Rock's reflection on a doorknob. Scott has a noticeable gap in his teeth, so when he moved back, he became one of Louisiana's most challenging dental patients, and West Hollywood lost its most well-known glory hole.
My name is Kid Scott. Anyway, Ken's 23andMe is 15% Barney Rubble, 35% Peter Griffin, 40% slave trader, and I forgot the last 10%. Oh yeah, Bilbo Baggins ball bag hair.
Scott looks like he drives the Simpsons school bus in Springfield, but he's actually a former EMT. It wasn't the blood and the stress that made him quit the ambulance. It was having to share the morphine with all those whiny gunshot victims.
Hey, you bark, dude. Speaking of blood, it's actually a blood moon tonight, but whenever I say blood moon, Ken gets flashbacks of his last proctologist appointment. Because you're old.
I am old, that's true. I'm something you've never been, dated.
When we legal though.
When we exchanged information with each other before the roast, Scott asked me, what my biggest vices are or bad habits I have, and there was one that comes to mind. My worst one probably is sports gambling. But when I lay $20 on a hairy, sweaty man, it's wagering that he's going to win his prize fight. When Scott does it, it's to get a blowjob in the back of his van.
Well, he tried. Anyway, speaking of old, you do work for the news even though you look like a weathered man. I could say that, Ken's pretty old school. Even his technology is pretty old school. Like, for instance, his first tablet was made out of granite, and his favorite type of gin is cotton.
Scott has often contemplated suicide, I presume. It's kind of tough when you realize that you don't have much to offer the world except a triple-decker sandwich and a handful of Scooby snacks.
Yeah, this is coming from a guy who got a triple bypass surgery and moved to New Orleans. You're really just trying to get as far beneath sea level as possible. Geez. I understand you've made it in the world. You get to have fancy shoes and fancy leather jackets and a wife and all that cool stuff. But, every time that Ken was invited to a Diddy party, he got maced. And that was by Mace. And when I say that, I mean he got raped by Mace. No one knows who Mace is. It's fine. Sorry.
When Scott was out there in Hollywood trying to make it, his dream job was actually to work for Jim Henson's company and manipulate Muppets. Since moving back, he's had to satisfy that urge by fisting children.
That's 6.
Oh, do we keep going or?
Hung it out, and I don't know.
Smell like real leather.
Yeah, that was amazing. Everybody, get up for that battle just now. Get up for Ken. Get up for Scott. The battle between Blockbuster versus Hollywood Videos. I appreciate these guys looking like battle between a conservative and a closeted conservative. That shit was amazing, man. My judges, man, what you guys think of that fucking battle?
Well, shout out to these guys for opening up the roast battle.
Ah, man, it's tough, man. It's fucking tough.
That is tough. No, this was a battle between America's Most Wanted and To Catch a Predator for sure.
More like Dateline NPC, if you ask me.
They're battling for ratings and shit.
They're battling for who can say the N-word first. That's.
Somebody
Not that old school.
Sorry. All right, I don't know, guys. This was kind of hard for me because at first I thought Ken was kind of running away with it because you were just the quips were fast, the jokes were crazy. Progressive racist was funny because that's what I thought when I saw Scott. The Kid Rock doorknob, the glory hole, the suicide was dark, and then you brought in Scooby snacks, which made me hungry. I don't. Wow. I do want to note that I wrote Fisting Children only for this roast battle. I don't know if anyone's watching.
Burn that paper after this.
That's burn after reading. If I had to give it to anyone, Scott, I did think you did well.
Oh, here we go. Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't have to placate you at all. I'm going to give it to Ken. I'm going to give it to Ken Daley.
Yeah, give it up for Madison Thomas, everybody.
We got one for Ken.
We got roast battle royalty here, by the way. She reminds me a lot of Frank Castillo. You can catch both of them at any Comic-Con in a orgy dressed as the Ninja Turtles. I don't know what's hotter tonight, New Orleans weather or Madison's fupa juices.
They are steaming. I'm
Pretty
going
hot.
to They are steaming.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Did you plan that joke if you were to lose? Like if you was gonna, did you plan that as a retaliation?
The important thing is that I wrote a joke.
All right, man. Bro, settle, man. That was pretty nice. I'm sorry. All right, we'll move on to James Regal. James, what did you think about
Oh, that was a really fun opening battle between the teacher and the student that never amounted to anything.
Hey, I've been in movies.
Shut up, it's my turn.
All right.
It's amazing your name's Scott Kidd when it looks like he's Scott Kids in his basement.
I didn't get that reference, I'm sorry.
I'm calling you a pedo, or pedo, as you call it, I don't know, whatever. Really fun battle. Yeah, I thought Ken came out the traps flying, he had the better jokes. I thought it was going to be one-sided, but then Scott really came back to 23andMe, but we just listed all the things Ken looks like entirely accurately. Looked great. Weathered Man, I really enjoyed that. But then Ken fought back. Other than the jokes Madison said, I liked your rebuttal about, was it the dated? Like, you look dated, something he's never been. That was a really clever bit of wordplay. Yeah, it was closer than I thought it was going to be. But my vote, because of just the strength of the jokes, goes to Ken.
Oh, that's Ken. Unless there's a secret vote in Florida, I don't think you're gonna pull this one out.
It's okay.
T-Ray, your thoughts, man? Just give me just your essence, man.
I don't know, it was so white. I just, for a while, I felt like I was at like a family gathering during Christmas, and it was just like my brother and my uncle was there, and I just tuned the whole fucking thing out. And, so to be quite honest, did somebody tell jokes? I don't even know. It could have happened. Personally, I agree with everything that everyone has said up to this point. I think you did well for just being a news person. And obviously, I do think Scott crafts his jokes a little better. So I'm gonna go with Scott Kidd.
Yeah. Give it up for the guy who murders hookers to the song Margaritaville.
Yeah, they're not murdered. They're just trapped.
Well, whatever. And also to the guy who, I guess, New Orleans finally. I don't fucking care.
Good
Moving
one.
on,
That
moving
was
on.
hilarious.
I gave up. I gave up. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Crikey, crikey.
Give it up for the villain of Silence of the Lambs, everybody. Fucking Buffalo Bill. Give it up for Ken Daley, our winner. For Ken Daley, man. Man, good to see you, man. That shit was great, man. Shake it. Love it. Whatever y'all do, man. Good shit, man. Oh, thank you, man. Very, very, very courteous white man. I appreciate Ken. I appreciate you all, man. We got more battles.